What's up? It's been a couple days before last Hearthstone card review video, so as you can figure, a bunch of new cards. Some of my contenders for maybe my favorite card, some of the more cards that look way more fun, and contender for what I think might be sleeper pick for the best card in the expansion so far. So we're gonna jump right into it. We're gonna go class by class until we get to the neutral cards. So for Demon Hunter, 4 mana, Azuron Defector, Rush, Death Rattle, put a Sunken Defector on the bottom of your deck, so 5/3. So 5 attack for 4 mana. For Rush, it's pretty good at killing itself right off the bat, removing a large minion in play, or a very large minion with the help of another minion you might already have. And so it brings, at the bottom of your deck, it puts a Sunken Defector, which is a 4 mana 5/3 charge. After this attacks, deal 5 damage to a random enemy minion. It's always important when they put charge on it. Always worth looking at when they put charge on a card, because that can hit face immediately. And so what this card can do, hits charge, boom, right to the face, 5 damage to the enemy, and they can deal 5 damage and remove a minion on your opponent's board. It can be damage to face and removal. And yeah, I think this is a cool card. Death Rattle Demon Hunter has been a relevant card in standard rotation ever since Forged in the Barrens. All those Forged in the Barrens cards are staying and won't be rotated for another year. So this is cool Death Rattle synergy with that deck. I don't know exactly the best list that deck is running right now. Maybe this, I think you can find room to put this card in that deck though. So 6 mana for Demon Hunter, Coil Scar Commander. It's a taunt battlecry if you cast 3 spells while holding this, summon 2 copies of this. So it's basic. So 3/2/6s following the Naga spell pattern that we've seen. So if Demon Hunter has some really cheap spells they put in a lot of their decks. This won't see playing wild. I don't think it's good enough. It's 6 mana, so odd Demon Hunter, it won't go in there. And this just doesn't fit for aggro Demon Hunter. Maybe this can see playing standard. I'm not too sure. I just think it's an alright card. It's got the Naga tag, but I think the 2 attack just isn't enough, even with the 6 health and taunt, 2 other copies of it. So let's get to the 3 mana legendary for Demon Hunter, Lady Stephano. I probably pronounced that horribly. Immune while attacking. After you cast a spell, attack the lowest health enemy. So immune keyword on this card is huge. You can get a ton of pings out of this. You slam this on your board. Even late game, you slam this on the board. You 7 mana worth of spells. Like 1 Eye Beam, 1 mana. Another Eye Beam, 2 mana. That's health for you. And this thing is hitting stuff in the face, even your opponent. You play in Wild, you can play a bunch of second slices and twin slices, and then this keeps hitting your opponent in the face, and then you smack your opponent in the face for like 12 damage. So it's this real big burst potential. I think this card can be kind of crazy, especially in an odd Demon Hunter. Maybe. I think it's standard. This will definitely see some play, especially like in a Fel deck maybe. So for Druid, I think 0 mana Aquatic form. Dredge, if you have the mana to play the card this turn, draw it. So, I mean, 0 mana draw, and just Dredge. I think this card's pretty good. I think this will be really good in Standard. Wild, maybe. In Standard, this will be really good in Druid. It's just 0 mana Dredge, or just draw immediately from the bottom of your deck. So it costs no mana to play. I think this card would be crazy in Standard, crazy in Arena. Wild, I don't know. The slower Druid decks right now have a lot of high quality cards, and it's really hard to slot cards in there because you don't know what to take out. Maybe in like a Reno version of like Dragon Druid or something. I don't know. Make it like you can dredge for the Kazakhstan that's at the bottom of your deck or something. Strong card though, in Standard for sure. So Azuron Gardens. Give all minions in your hand +1/+1. Put a Sunken Gardens on the bottom of your deck, and what this does is give +1/+1 to all minions in your hand, deck, and battlefield. So I think even just looking at like Aquatic form, you can play this on turn 2. Play Azuron Gardens, Aquatic, look for the Sunken Guardians as 1 mana, so you draw it, boom, instantly play. It's kind of like an Embiggen, but not like +2/+2. I think Embiggen is, without the mana increase in cards Embiggen gives. So this looks pretty strong for like maybe like Beast Druid and Wild. Not so much Token, because these don't apply to your token cards. But like aggro, Zoo Druid, kind of. I think this could see play, especially if you have like the ashara Aquatic combo. So we'll have to see. Maybe in Beast Druid, in Wild, in Standard, I could see this being used pretty easily. Also, I love the art. Just going from the ashara Gardens to the Sunken Gardens. I read about a little lore, so I kind of understand how this happens, but interesting card. So for Hunter, 1 mana spell, Barbed Nets. Deal 2 damage to an enemy if you have a Naga while holding this, or if you played a Naga while holding this, choose a second target. So, maybe Quest Hunter in Standard, if they can play the Raj Nishah, whatever the new Hunter Legendary is that deals damage whenever you use a spell from that mana cost. I don't think that card will see play in Wild. I think there are better options for 1 mana in Wild, like Questline Hunter, because the whole Naga requirement, I don't really know what Naga you would play in that deck, because you definitely wouldn't play the new Legendary. But like a Face Hunter in Standard, if they give it like Face Naga cards, which I think we have seen at least one neutral one, this could see play, so something to look out for in Standard at least. So for Mage Legendary, Commander Savara is a pretty crazy card. 4 mana 3/5, battlecry if you cast 3 spells while holding this. Naga requirement, add those spells back to your hand. So these are the first 3 spells you cast while this is in your hand. You use, and then later, or whatever in the game you use it, you get those 3 spells back. So I think this can be a pretty crazy card. Maybe, I'm sure there's some kind of combo I'm not thinking of at the moment. You kind of go crazy with this, and then throw those 3 spells back. Maybe in like Big Spell Mage, you're just churning out more big spells. There's definitely a lot of combo potential with this. Also, it's good at just generating resources for spells you've already used, and then you bring it back to your hand. Even like card draw spells, draw a bunch of cards, use this, and then you can draw even more cards. So I think this is a pretty good card. It's kind of weird, like a spider Naga, or like a crab Naga. Well, not crab. There's like a spider race in World of Warcraft I can't think of. That was like in the one of the earlier expansions. It's pretty cool though. I like that I tried it. So this is what I think is a sleeper pick for best card currently revealed in the expansion. Paladin, 2 mana card, Radar Detector. Scan the bottom 5 cards of your deck, draw any mechs found this way, then shuffle your deck. This is like, it's good. This potential 2 mana draw 5 on turn 2. I feel like this is the card that could really help put mech hand buff Paladin back on the map in Wild. This could really make a mech Paladin deck in Standard if we get enough mech support later on, or just this expansion. It's just, the draw potential on this card is crazy, especially if you just throw a bunch of mechs in your deck. So I really like this card. I think this card is super strong. And so the mana Paladin Colossal Minion, the Leviathan, 7 mana, 4/5 Rush Divine Shield. After this attacks, Dredge, and in the appendage is a 4 mana or 4 attack, 2 health, Rush Divine Shield. After this attacks, draw a card. Art wise, this might be my favorite Leviathan or Colossal shown so far. This is super cool. I love the flavor on the card. So you're kind of like attack with the head of the Leviathan, and then use the claws. You like pick a card off from the bottom of your deck, and then the claw on the back of the Leviathan draws that card and brings it to your hand. Super cool flavor. I think this is going to be a good card. I don't know about Wild. Maybe you put that in a mech hand buff card or deck with Radar Detector. I think it's Standard. This can definitely see some play. Like, you just play, this is immediate impact when it hits the board. Rush Divine Shield. Boom, dredge a card, draw it. Or you can even go in the reverse order of just drawing a card, and then you can dredge a card from the top of your deck to use next turn. Let's say you already dredged a card and then you use this. So this has a ton of potential. I love the art, love the flavor, like this card a lot. So for Priest, 3 mana, 3/2 Naga, Handmaiden, Battlecry, and the Naga requirement, 3 spells. While holding this, draw 3 cards. Card draw is always good, especially draw 3 on turn 3. If you played a Naga on turn 1 or 2, it's just more potential Naga support for like a deck to use with Serpent Wig. In Standard, Wild maybe, and Wild is going to depend so much on the Naga cards. But I mean, to draw, it's 3 mana draw 3 if you have the requirement. So, always something to look out for is card draw. So, 9 mana removal spell for Priest, Whirlpool, destroy all minions and all copies of them wherever they are. So, there's a recent or older rogue legendary minion that would destroy copies of all minions. So, let's say the opponent has a Stone Colossus on the field. You play this, and then it not just destroys that Stone Colossus, it'll destroy the other one copy in the opponent's deck. So, in Standard, I think this will be a strong removal spell. It is 9 mana. I don't think this will see played Wild, and Wild Priest has so many removal spells, I don't think they'll ever have one better than Psychic Scream, which just throws all those copies in the deck in your minions, and it dilutes your opponent's draw. So, it's so hard to beat Psychic Scream. And Wild, unless you want to run that 30 card Priest removal deck, which I think is possible now with Whirlpool. I'm not sure. But now, Priestess Felix. This is our first ever 0 mana legendary minion, I believe, for Priest, or just in general. But for Priest, 1/1 Naga, refresh any empty mana crystal, or refresh an empty mana crystal for each spell you cast this turn. This is going to be a crazy card. The gameplay video I released earlier this week, Health Miracle Priest, this can slot right into that deck. You can just play a ton of spells, and then play this to refresh all those mana crystals, and this card is free. 0 mana, so boom, 10 mana worth of spells into your turn. Cost this again, another 10, 20 mana worth of spells in a turn. And then you just keep cycling with draw. And I just think this card is going to be crazy. And it'll find some way to be broken. And then they'll throw it at 1 mana or something. But this is a crazy card. So for Rogue, we have Ashara and Vessel. Summon 2 3/3 Pirates with Stealth. Put a Sunken Vessel on the bottom of your deck. And Sunken Vessel, super cool art. Cast when drawn. Summon 2 3/3 Pirates with Stealth. So this is all in all, what, I think 12/12 in stats of Stealth Pirates for 5 mana, which is pretty cool. Rogue is getting a lot of pirate support. One of my favorite, maybe my favorite card so far this expansion. We'll look at in a sec. That synergizes with this pirate support, especially summon, and not just play. So, first we're going to go over Krabatoa, which is the Rogue Colossal minion. Crabulon is here. Colossal +2, your Krabatoa claws have +2 attack, 6 attack, 5 health. And so, it summons 2 Krabatoa's claws, which are Tooth 1 rushes with Death Rattle, equip a 2/1 claw. So you summon these, and they'll actually be both 4 attack, 1 health, rush minions, beasts. And so the weapon, it equips a 2/1 Krabatoa's claw. So the weapon has the same name as the claw, which means they also get the attack boost from Krabatoa. So the kind of like so it's a 4 attack, 1 durability weapon. So the kind of idea is you slap this on the field, you rush one of the claws into a minion, and then boom, you got the weapon in your hand. You like smack the enemy in the face or hit another minion. Boom, break the weapon. Boom, hit with the other claw. Boom, get another 4/1 weapon back, and then you still have a 6/5 on the board for 6 mana. I think this card's really cool. Really good removal. I think this will see play in Standard for Rogue for sure. Wild, like this won't see play in Kingsbane. because you want to just keep whacking with your Kingsbane weapon and you don't want to like throw other weapons that out synergize it. Big rogue, I think. Pillager rogue. It'll be hard to find a new deck for this in Wild unless a new deck pops up, which I don't think it will. Maybe this could see play in a Reno rogue, which could see play with the next card we're about to get to. That is a possible place for this. Maybe in Big Rogue too. I could see this in Big Rogue. So, my girl Hook Tusk is back. And look, she had that glow up. She hit the gym. So, the new Pirate Admiral Hook Tusk. 8 mana, 8/8. If you summon 8 other pirates this game, plunder the enemy. The old Hook Tusks just summon 3 pirates with Rush. 6/3. It's how you plunder the enemy. I believe you choose one of these options. I think. So you can take their supplies. You just take 5 cards from their deck. They lose those 5 cards. I think you get them added to your hand. So, boom. Instant 5 cards in your hand. 5 cards out of your opponent's deck. Take their ship. Just take their highest attack minion. Maybe you just want to take a really big taunt. Boom. On your side of the field. End the game with your minions. Or take their gold. Take 2 cards from your opponent's hand. Let's say they're like playing one of the quest decks. And they have like Rokara in hand. Or Tavish. And then boom. Smack this on it. And then you take their quest reward. I think that option will see more play in Standard. In Wild, I think those questline decks usually already have the reward on the field before you could play this for 8 mana. There's always like weird mana discount stuff you can find. Since the card is 8 mana, I think the option take their supplies will probably be the most played because they just lose their resources from their deck. Take their gold will be situational, so we'll take their ship. But, I mean, it's probably my favorite card so far this expansion. I love Hook Tusk. Ever since the original came out, I really like that card. And especially this new one, which just looks really sick. And she looks sick. She's buff as hell. So, next card. For Shaman, 1 mana Schooling, add 3 1/1 Piranha Swarmers to your hand. Piranha Swarmers we talked about last time. There's 1 mana 1/1 Beast. I think they're 1/1. That whenever you summon another Piranha Swarmer, give all your other Piranha Swarmers +1 attack. So I think this would be better if it was just summon them to your field. But they are just 1 mana, and they do synergize with another crazy card we'll get to in a little bit with Shaman. Right now, bioluminescence. Give your minions +1 spell damage. Shaman has a couple decks that just obliterate your opponent with spells. In Wild, they have Frog Shaman. In Wild and Standard, you can play Questline Shaman, and the Questline reward is for the rest of your game. All your spells cast twice. And so you can play this on a bunch of minions if you've already played the Questline reward. So it gives them spell damage +2 since you're casting this twice. And then you cast like lightning bolts for 2 like 5 attack lightning bolts, so 10 damage just off 1 mana, which is kind of crazy. You can do some crazy shenanigans with bioluminescence. Probably one of my favorite art, or the cards on my art is one of my favorites so far from this expansion. Just looks really cool. Finley's just chilling. So this is a card to look out for. Also a nature spell, so you can tutor it with the one card that draws you a nature spell, and if you draw a nature spell, draw an elemental. Primal Dungeoneer, I think. So, another card for Shaman. 5 mana 3/4 Naga, Coral Creeper. Battlecry, summon a 3/3 elemental for each spell school you've cast this game. So, I mean, Shaman likes to play a bunch of different school spells. Nature, Fire, Frost. Arcane, maybe there's Arcane I can't think of. But this can synergize. I don't know if you want to play this. You want to do more stuff than just summon a bunch of minions. Maybe this is a setup card for bioluminescence. But I don't think this would ever see play over like multicaster, which is draw a card for each different spell school you've cast this game. So I'm not sure. And you saw a little sneak peek of the new Shaman Legendary that we were going to get to. Radiance of Ashara, 3 mana, 3/4 elemental. This card's crazy. Fire spell damage +2. Your nature spells cost 1 less. After you cast a frost spell, gain 3 armor. So, I mean, this card is insane. It's cheap, and it interacts with different spell schools by giving them different buffs. There's a nature spell. Right now, it's a 1 mana nature spell that evolves your minions to higher mana cost minions. I'm sure that'll get the echo tag. And you can cast that card repeatedly in the same turn. I'm sure that'll get the echo tag, which is makes it where you have to spend 1 mana every time for it. It's hard to explain that, but it'll solve that problem. But I mean, you play this, boom, generate a bunch of armor, do a bunch of damage, discounted nature spells. It'll be crazy. Next card, the Fires of Jin Ashari. Replace your deck with minions that cost 5 or more. They cost 5. So, I mean, this card is going to be crazy. And by crazy, I mean it's really bad, and you should never play it in an actual deck. But I'm going to play it in an actual deck, and I'm going to have fun with how terrible it is. Because, I mean, it's bad, but it's fun. And that's what we're going to do. For another card for Warrior, 9 mana, 8/9 Beast, Trench Stalker, Battlecry, attack 3 different random enemies. This does include face. So, I mean, it's expensive. First off, it's the first 8/9 mana, or 8/9 stat line minion in the game, which is really cool. Looks like just a big Hydra. I love kaiju monsters. I love Godzilla. So, I mean, I love this art. It is a bad looking dude. Got King Ghidorah vibes. I don't know if this will see played. Big Warrior. Definitely want Wild. I mean, that no other Warrior decks in Wild really see play besides Questline Warrior. And Dead Man's Warrior every 87 Warriors you run into on ladder. But, I mean, it does go face. And you can't buff it in hand. So that's something to always look out for. So, Warrior Legendary. 5 mana, 5/5. Give all Battlecry, Lady Ashvane. Give all weapons in your hand, deck, and battlefield +1/+1. So, weapon synergy, which you've already seen so far this expansion. I just don't know what deck you put this in. We'll have to see way more weapon support for this to be playable, I think, in this expansion and the upcoming expansions. I just don't know what deck you slot this into. You definitely don't slot it. It's not a pirate. It is a better version of Hobart Grapple Hammer, which is 2 mana, give all weapons in your hand and deck. So it doesn't hit the battlefield. This is a better version of that, even if it costs more mana. So, I mean, it's a cool card. It's a cool effect. I just don't know where you slot it. So, neutral cards. Pelican Diver. 4 attack, 1 mana, or 4 attack, 1 health for 1 mana. Dormant for 1 turn. Rush. So, dormant cards, you put them on the field, and you can't interact with them or do anything with them for that amount of time that's stated on the card. So you play this 1 turn. Boom, your opponent's turn. Can't do anything. And then boom, your next turn, this can rush. So, I mean, it's a lot of attack on a 1 health minion. This and the next 2 cards are the first dormant for 1 turn minions we've gotten. So, we'll get to the crazy one now. So, Slimy Scale Diver Murloc. 3 mana, 2/4. Rush Poisonous. So, if people that don't know, Poisonous means you can kill any minion. This hits automatically, even if you don't, kill all their health. This on a dormant for 1 turn is kind of wild, because your opponent just can't interact with it. Your opponent cannot remove dormant minions. Nothing can remove them. Even like big AoE cards or Psychic Scream. This will still stay on the field. So, I mean, you throw this down on the field, your opponent's next turn, they can't play a big threat, because boom, this just comes alive immediately, unless it's Divine Shield, and you only have 1 Slime Scale Diver. But it's hard for them to play big minions when you throw this down the turn later. Like, you don't know what to do. And then you could just throw another one down, dormant for one turn, and you're delaying a threat for like a while. So, I mean, this card's kind of crazy. Dormant for one turn, rush poisonous is kind of wild. It'll be something to look out for. It'll especially see played in Warlock decks. So, Gangplank Diver, 5 mana 6/4 pirate, dormant for one turn, rush, immune while attacking. So, this has a lot of attack, decent health for 5 mana, well, with the effect in mind. So, the pirate tag is important because you could play this on turn 5, boom, immune on your opponent's turn, and then you play Mr. Smite on turn 6, which gives all your pirates charge, including itself, and then boom, 12 damage to the opponent's face that they could not interact with, besides like throwing down a Mutanus with like an Overgrowth or something and eating your opponent's Smite in hand. But I mean, only Druids and Shamans will do that, and a Shaman won't ever play that card. Actually, no. Shamans will play it in some some Shutterwalk decks, but they shouldn't because it'll screw up their ice fishing. And Flurgirl is broken with the poison. So, I mean, maybe this sees play with, like, a Mr. Smite combo, which is really niche and shouldn't. It'll be annoying off the Juggernaut for sure. So, 7 mana 5/9 Naga, Slithering Death Scale. Battle Cries, Naga requirement, 3 spells while holding this, deal 3 damage to all enemies. It's like a mini board removal on a stick, which board removal on a stick is something that should always keep in mind, because that can always be relevant, especially when beefy like this. This will be really good in Arena if you can cast 3 spells while holding this, and you're holding it for a while since it's 7 mana. Standard, I could see this, maybe. Wild, no. But, I mean, in Arena, this card can be crazy. So, Naga Giant, 20 mana 8/8, costs 1 less for each mana you spent on spells this game, Naga. So, the Giants in Hearthstone, there's a whole bunch of them. They're all super high cost cards that their mana cost reduced in some way. These are probably the 2 most played Giants. Mountain Giant costs 1 less for each other card in your hand. It's played in even lock mostly. Even Warlock, Reno Warlock, Hand Mage. Where you just stuff cards in your hand. You play this like on turn 3 for like 3 mana if you've drawn a bunch. Molten Giants for less health. Warlock Hero Power reduces your own health. Warlock has a bunch of ways to reduce their own health, and then you can just drop this Molten Giant. There's a legendary in Paladin that turns all your health into armor, so you get, boom, left with 1 health but 29 armor, and you can throw 2 Molten Giants out for 0 mana. But Naga Giant interacts with mana you've cast on spells this game. So, like, throughout the game, you're just playing a bunch of spells, and then you can smack 2 Naga Giants down whenever you get to that point. I don't know which Mage deck this will see playing. Of course, we have a ton of cards to be revealed so far, so I'm sure they'll print a bunch of new spells for Mage like they always do. So, it's a card to look out for. This is really sick art. But let's get to like the premier card of the expansion, crazy card, Queen Ashara, 5 mana 5/5, battlecry. If you cast 3 spells while holding this, so it's a Naga. Choose an ancient relic, and the ancient relic has some crazy game-altering effects. There's 4 of them. There's a 2 mana cost, 0 attack, 5 health weapon. After you cast a spell, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero and lose 1 durability. So, it's 10 damage off of 5 spells for 5 durability cost. So it's just a bunch of damage. It's 1 mana Tidestone of Golganeth. It's just a spell. Shuffle 5 random spells in your deck, set their cost to 1, immediately draw 2 cards. So, card draw. You're shuffling a bunch of random 1 cost spells in your deck that can either be low impact or super high impact. But here's what I think the 2 best ones will be. Let's get the Ring of Tides first. After you cast a spell, this becomes a copy of it that costs 1. So let's say you cast a big 10 mana spell, or a 9 mana spell, Root of the Archmage, which is just cast 20 mana worth of random spells at the opponent. And then, so 9 health, or 9 mana, and then boom, this turns into a 1 mana cost of this. So you can cast 40 mana worth of spells at your opponent in 1 turn. So this has crazy combo potential. Just crazy potential in general. But let's get to the fun one. The one that I'm going to be playing and using half the time. Add a random colossal minion to your hand. It costs 1 mana from any of the classes. This is a super fun one. It's colossal minions. Big minions, big effects immediately for 1 mana. Queen Ashara looks sick. Sick effect. Sick art. She's a babe. And similar card, High Spear and Togwoggle, which if you control a lackey, you pick a treasure. So, like, draw 3 cards, reduce your cost to 0 was the one that was usually picked. Until it got changed, I think, and then people started using Zerog's Crown, discover a legendary minion, summon 2 copies of it. Had a very high variance in Wild. Toland's Goblet, which on meme plays Golden Kobold for Golden Monkey. And it saw decent play. And it was a class card, it was a rogue card, and this is a neutral card, so I think this will see a lot of play. This will be super sick. I hope we get a diamond variant of it. For sure, that would be so sick. But yeah, those are the cards revealed so far. We'll be back in a couple days with a whole bunch of new cards. Hopefully, I think we have 1 Colossal remaining for Shaman. I think we've got all the other Colossals. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we do. But yeah, catch you next time.